Hey everyone, thanks so much for submitting your questions to my Facebook page. We're going to try and do that a little bit more often. We want to get interactive and creative for you guys. I'm actually in Nashville here. I'm at Barista Parlor. Great group. They got a couple of these locations in Nashville, so if you're ever in the town, check it out. But I'm going to get to your questions. So hopefully I got to yours, and hopefully you guys like my answers. So the one track that I'd want to get added to the IndyCar calendar would actually be Laguna Seca. We could add a bunch, if you're going to go globally, I'd probably be talking Spa or Suzuka. Those are two of my favorite international tracks, but if you're just talking domestically, Laguna Seca would be at the top of my list. I've never driven anything there, and I think an IndyCar would be the perfect car to drive around that track. So the biggest thing when it comes to preparing the car for an oval or a street course race is really everything. I don't know that I could say one thing. The whole car is pretty much changed. You go from needing a car that is symmetrical, where left and right hand corners, the car is capable of doing the same thing in both directions. That's very important for a road or a street course. And then an oval, obviously when we're working on just left-handers, the car can become asymmetric. And then you just work on maximizing the car's performance for left-hand turns. It sounds simple, but it's actually a lot more complex. So changing everything from the suspension, the uprights, the efficiency of the mechanical side of the car, that's really important, because on an oval, having good speed, top speed is the most important thing. So we really look at the mechanical efficiency of the car, the aerodynamic efficiency. Road and street courses, that's important, but not as much as some other areas of the car. And also you have a lot more wear and tear on a road or street course, so you have to look out for that more than an oval. So the person that I'm looking forward to racing against at Rock in Saudi Arabia is probably Juan Pablo Montoya, because he came in for his first time and won the event. He's kind of the master at doing that. If you looked at Juan's career, he's always quick out of the box. So I'm personally excited about racing against him. I know I've raced him in an IndyCar, but I think this is a whole different environment to do this in. Sebastian Vettel, I've always been interested to watch him race. I've always been a fan of his racing, so I think it'll be fun to compete against him if he shows up. I think he's coming, so hopefully he's going to be there. I think this year winning the Indianapolis 500 would mean the most. Even if we don't win another IndyCar championship, I think for us that's the priority, is winning the Indianapolis 500. It means more to the team, specifically Team Penske. The legacy of that group has been built around the Indianapolis 500. Of course, we want to win the championship. I'd like to be able to repeat that with the team, but I think for us as a group, the Indianapolis 500 is what matters. So that would be more than winning back-to-back championships. Ooh, a vacation I very much want to take is going to New Zealand. I've never been to New Zealand. We have a couple Kiwi drivers in the IndyCar series, most notably Scott Dixon, and I've heard great things about New Zealand. I think you can get everything there from what I understand. You can get great summer sports, you can get great winter sports. It's just a beautiful country to go see. So hopefully one day I get to make it over there. When I was growing up, I didn't have a bunch of drivers that I personally rooted for. I was more interested in the cars. That's really what I gravitated towards. When I was a kid, I didn't know much about racing, so I watched everything NASCAR, F1, IndyCar, and open wheel cars were the most interesting to me. So it was really the race cars themselves, which I love the most. But if there was one guy that I was really interested in, it was Dan Weldon, and I think I was so interested in Dan's career just because he came out to the go-kart track that I raced at Newcastle Motorsports Park. So I think his interest in karting and hanging out with young drivers that are hopeful professionals one day, that's really what kind of gravitated me towards him and his career. Some of my other interests and hobbies would be mountain biking that just started recently. There's actually a lot of people in North Carolina that are big into mountain biking, specifically the Penske engineers. Like pretty much the entire engineering staff is into mountain biking, so it was very difficult to not become interested in it. They talk about it a lot, they go mountain biking a lot, so that kind of got me involved, and I've slowly been getting into it. Other than that, I really like going snowboarding in the off season if I can make some time. You got to be a little bit careful. You don't want to get injured in between seasons, but I think if you take it easy and you just have a good time, some outdoor sports like snowboarding, that's really my favorite thing to go do when I have free time. So when it comes to the 2018 car, that's going to be very different in certain aspects, and in other aspects it's not going to be that different. And really, when you look at tracks is where you're going to notice the differences and not differences. Ovals I do not think will be as affected, but it also depends on the oval. If you're talking super speedways like Indianapolis, Pocono, Texas, I think those will be less affected. You'll probably have a very similar race, similar car. Short ovals will be completely different. You're going to lose a lot of downforce, a lot of grip. You're probably going to actually have to start braking on short ovals, which is very different from us. Normally we were just flat out in the IndyCar before, so that'll be a huge change. I think on street courses you'll find very, very different race setups, so everyone's going to have to work really hard to optimize their car and make it work really well on a street course. Road courses are going to be in between. You're going to have some places that are going to be totally different, some places that are going to be not so different. So it really just depends on if it's a high downforce or a low downforce road course track. That's where the separation will come. Oh, I love gnomes. I mean, I respect them, first and foremost, because they're gnomes and they might have powers that we don't know about. There's just an unknown relationship there that you need to, I think, respect. Also, I don't know if anyone saw this, but on my Instagram when I went to Denmark, there are basically an unlimited supply of gnomes, Santas, and elves everywhere. So it's one of my favorite places on the planet is going to Denmark and seeing all the different gnomes and elves and Santa Clauses that they have. So I'm a big fan of gnomes. I respect them. That's all I'm going to say.